Arlington Weekly News. I'm Jamie Beckett. Tonight, by the way, is our first anniversary show. It's been 1 year since the Arlington Weekly News began.
And I'm Cal Swenholt. In tonight's news, we have a look at the county's new budget, a controversy over proposed power line construction, our regular features, as well as a new feature called Sportsweek, and lots more. But first, the news. Jamie?
The big news this week is the $211.7 million budget passed Saturday by the Arlington County Board. The budget, a 4.6% increase over last year's, will cost the average Arlington homeowner $22 more in real estate taxes next year. That's the bad news. The good news is a 10-cent drop in county's personal property tax, the second drop of its kind in a month. The spending plan, which covers the fiscal year beginning July 1st, also includes measures to provide $48.5 million for Arlington schools, raise most county employees' salaries by 5%, and to increase garbage collection fees. The approved county budget is $4.4 million more than that proposed by Acting County Manager Anthony Griffin. Where's the extra money coming from? Mostly from increased revenues raised through taxes and higher fees for county services. Cal?
Jamie, 100 citizens showed up at the same board meeting to protest VEPCO's proposed 230,000-volt overhead power line through the Stonewall Jackson neighborhood, even though 2 weeks earlier the board had promised to support their protest against VEPCO's plan. They were taking no chances. Under VEPCO's current plan, there is an overhead portion of the power line supported by 14 90-foot-high steel towers running for 1 mile from Glen Carlin Station to North Fairfax Drive. There, the lines would go underground to a new substation to be located North 11th and Randolph Streets. Some protested the ugliness of the towers they would have to live with, saying if you can put some of it underground, you can put all of it underground. And others weren't sure at all of any of it. Chris Hall, a resident who is also a lawyer for the Environmental Defense Fund, said some studies indicate that people who live near power lines suffer increased suicide rates, infertility, and interference with pacemakers. The protesters scoffed when the VEPCO spokesperson said as far as he is concerned, there is no health hazard. Finally, the board agreed to protest VEPCO's plan at a July 27th State Corporation Commission and to urge the commission that the cost of putting the power lines underground should be paid by all VEPCO users, not just the county, or paid by the Boston developers for whom the power lines are intended. In a moment, Carolyn Turner has some entertainment to report.
Well, what do you think, Don? The news show sure has come a long way in a year.
Yeah, I'll say, I remember when we first started, Louise, we had 2 chairs on just a naked set. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
And then we graduated to a table, and we thought we were really something. But now Cal's got this new set, and really looks great. Oh yeah, that was our original logo for the Arlington Weekly News for many weeks, many months actually. You know, the other thing about the news show that's interesting is the variety of people that have contributed to it in one way or the other, the different walks of life that they were in and so on. Louise, how did you happen to get tangled up with us?
Well, I was finishing the breakfast dishes one morning when the telephone rang, and someone said, "Wouldn't you like to be on the Arlington Weekly News?" And I was about to say, no, I certainly wouldn't like to be on it, when I remembered that when they were first talking about setting up this channel, I had suggested we have an Arlington Weekly News. So there I was stuck, and here I am most of the time.
You, Debbie?
Well, I remember I was chairing a symposium on development in Arlington County, and we needed a way to reach out to the community to advertise the symposium. So I came on as a newscaster for one time. We had so few newscasters that I was invited back, and it was such an enjoyable experience. I've been back every now and then.
Oh, I see they're about ready for the next segment there. Shall we watch it?
Good evening. Death Trap is Ira Levin's Broadway hit made into a movie. It's about a playwright who specializes in murder thrillers who decides to write his own script in a desperate attempt to salvage his career. Instead of the classical whodunit, we're faced with what next with each twist of the plot, and it does take a few turns. Michael Caine plays the aging playwright gleefully, like a madman. Christopher Reeve plays the student playwright who's duped out of his script by the fading luminary. And Diane Cannon is comical as the playwright's wife, presenting a new and fresh gullibility. Irene Worth comes in as the neighborhood psychic and comes amazingly close to solving the murders. This only makes things funnier. This movie is full of laughs and surprises. Probably the best entertainment value in town is the American College Theater Festival, now at the Kennedy Center's Terrace Theater. Mickey Grant's scintillating musical review, Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope, was presented by Prairie View, Texas A&M. This is a mixed bag musical by an entire black cast. The theme focuses on being black in America, and the songs are jazz, rock, southern gospel, as well as some funky style Superfly routines. It was a good show, kept moving, lots of action, big cast, humorous in approach, novel in idea. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised to see it on TV in a year or two with a few of the lines changed to match Reaganomic jokes. It would have broader appeal. Part of the fun of going to the college festival is playing Talent Scout. Save the program and you may have proof later of discovering a star. The young actors are the cream of the crop from college talent competitions and are competing for awards and scholarship money donated by Irene Ryan, the lady who played Granny on the Beverly Hillbillies. The festival continues at the Kennedy Center through May 2nd. It's the best buy in town now, with tickets priced from $5 to $8. That's entertainment. I'm Carolyn Turner. Back to you, Cal.
Thank you, Carolyn. That sounds like the only kind of entertainment I can afford now.
The price is right.
Despite a federal judge's order to block its showing, the new movie Great White is being shown at 6 area theaters. Universal Pictures, the producers of Jaws, is suing the producers of Great White because Great White is so similar to Jaws that it infringes on copyright and trademark rights. Manager of the Arlington Theater on Columbia Pike, Pat Rosensteel, said she has been waiting for someone to pull the movie from viewing, but no one has shown up yet. Unlike the blockbuster Jaws, the turnout for Great White has been moderate because, according to one theater manager, Great White simply is not as good. And in a moment, John Patterson talks about hiking, fossils, and campfires.
Well, you remember when Outdoors had this for their logo when Kathleen Devine was doing it?
Yeah, I miss her a lot. She disappeared into the sunset.
Disappeared into the sunset, right. You had something to do with this logo here, didn't you?
Oh, I cut it out and pasted it together, yeah.
And you've been operating the camera for most, the whole time the show's been on the cable. You remember anything particularly that was, the audience didn't notice was going wrong back there?
Well, we hope they didn't notice it. Oh, a lot of times we didn't have a monitor, and just have to try to wing it.
What about the time we went with one light?
Oh, which one?
Which one?
I can think of at least. Oh, everything.
It's been an
Everything's
interesting
gone wrong
experience,
from time
hasn't
to
it?
time. Sure. Well, this is the only kind of video stuff I've done, really, except a few things on my own. And it's a unique experience. I like it informal like that. It has to be. I mean, the operation. We've grown. Look at us here.
Right.
Okay?
How about you, Debbie, on your interviews? Did you have any, well, we know you did, some last-minute changes in your plans?
Yeah, I remember 2 nights before Christmas Eve, we were doing a Santa Claus interview. We had a pretty amateur comedian lined up. We had a Santa Claus suit, everything. Santa Claus had an accident. We had to get our technical consultant. We conned him into coming on the show, being our Santa Claus, and we were just very grateful. He did a terrific job.
You're talking about David Pepper.
Yeah.
Right, at the last minute, right, yeah. He was not exactly an eager Santa Claus at first, but...
No. In fact, he refused to wear the beard.
He hung it under his chin.
Yeah, I remember it well. Well, I see they're ready for their next segment on the news. You want to see what they got coming up here with John?
Hi, I'm John Patterson. Welcome to Outdoors. And I want to say, wasn't that a beautiful weekend this weekend? I don't think we could have ordered a better one for this time of year. And we were at Potomac Overlook Regional Park, and it was nice to see all the people walking and riding bicycles, and just enjoying nice spring weather. There's a lot of things coming up the next few weekends. I hope we get lucky again. Now, this Sunday, May 2nd at 9:30 a.m., Scott Silsby, Terry Boyke, and Greg Zell are taking a hike. Big deal, so what? Well, they're three naturalists from the Arlington County Parks, and you're invited on that hike to join them as they walk through the McGee-Beschers Natural Area in Montgomery County, Maryland. Now, the park offers a unique opportunity to view and study all sorts of animal life in their varying natural habitats. Now, the admission is free. Children must be accompanied by adults. Now, for reservations and directions to the meeting site, call 558-2340. That's 558-2340. And they suggest you wear comfortable clothing, and you can take field guides or binoculars and bring them along with you. Now, on Saturday, May 22nd, from 10 a.m. till 12 noon, you can join a member of the Arlington Naturalist staff as he interprets the geology of a recently excavated construction site in nearby Maryland. You'll see exposed formations containing sedimentary clays and rocks with fossil remains of marine animals from the Mesozoic era. That's a hard one to pronounce. And some fossil collecting will be allowed, but the owners of the site require that you have a notarized waiver of liability. Now, the forms are available at the Gulf Branch Nature Center, 3608 North Military Road, and they must be returned by May 18th. And for more information, you can call 558-2340. That's 558-2340. And another goodie, on Saturday, May 8th, the Northern Virginia Regional Parks are presenting Mother's Night Out. That's at Algonquian Regional Park in Sterling. Now, Mother's Night Out is a cookout and campfire to give Mom a little break for Mother's Day. Now, if you're one of those who attended the campfire there last October, you know all about it. Hot dogs, hamburgers, baked beans, potato chips, drinks, and just plenty of everything. Now, the cookout will be followed by the campfire with marshmallows and some of the tallest tales you've ever heard told. Now, it's $3 for adults and $2 for children under 12, and that's less than you'd probably pay at a good fast food restaurant. Okay, so it's Mother's Night Out, Algonquian Regional Park. That's on Saturday, May 8th, and the fun begins at 6:30 p.m. And if you'd like more information and to make reservations, you can call the regional parks at 528-5406. That's 528-5406. And light is very limited, so you might want to take along a flashlight, too. Next, Sports Week with newcomer Chris Horn. Have a nice week. Chris?
Good evening and welcome to Sports Week. And it was a week very successful for the Alexandria Dukes. Starting off with a twilight doubleheader last Tuesday, April 20th, the Dukes swept the Salem Redbirds, winning the first game 2-1 and capturing the nightcap 10-6. Wilfredo Cordova saved the first game and won the second. On Wednesday, the Dukes continued their winning ways, stretching their winning streak to 6 by beating the Redbirds again, this time 6-1. A 5-run ninth broke a 1-1 tie at that point. The winner was Chris Green, and Jim Felt collected the game-winning run batted in. Thursday, the Dukes were off, but on Friday they traveled to Lynchburg, Virginia, to meet the Lynchburg Mets, and the streak was snapped. Unfortunately, they lost to the Mets 8-2. The game-winning grand slam was all that Lynchburg needed. The winner was Jay Tibbs for Lynchburg. He's 1-2, and the loser was Jeff Horn. He's 0-2. On Saturday, the Dukes turned things around, getting back in their winning ways, this time winning 8-2. The winner was Lamont. He went 6 in the third inning, scattered 5 hits. And on Sunday, winning again by a 6-run margin, this time 7-1. Fernando Gonzalez and Ray Krozik scattered 4 hits, combined for 12 strikeouts. Krozik pitched 3 1/3 and retired 7 Lynchburg Mets by strikeout. Dukes are on top of the Carolina League. It's only the first half of the season. However, we're rooting for them to win the whole thing this year. Last week on the high school level, the Yorktown Patriots lost to the Herndon Hornets 7-2. The Hornets swept the doubles matches. However, The Patriots can avenge that loss this week when the postseason tournament starts. Yorktown is bidding for consecutive state championships. Another big high school story this week is the Great Falls District Track Championships, where indoor champion Charlene Berstrom of Yorktown goes up against Washington and Lee senior Jessica Space in the 1 mile. Berstrom is a possible state champ in either the mile or the 2-mile event. Other Washington and Lee notable performers in the girls' events will be junior hurdler Laura Mason and promising freshman Nicole Deskins in the 1/4 mile. Washington and Lee's top entries on the male side of the ledger will be junior Bernard Carpenter in the 220-yard dash, along with Stanley Robinson, who is also a top contender in the long jump. Chuck Anderson will handle the mile and 2-mile duties for Washington and Lee. The highlights this season for Wakefield High School are the girls' softball and boys' tennis teams, both of which are undefeated. The Warriors boys' tennis team figures to be a top contender for Potomac District crown, while softball coach Gail Kellop and her 10-0 squad, led by pitcher Mary Lou McIntosh, will be anxiously anticipating the May tournament. In other local softball doings, the Arlington Department of Parks and Recreation held their early bird tournament last weekend to open the '82 season. 32 teams competed from Arlington and Fairfax counties, and when the final out was logged, Capital X-Ray, sparked by most valuable player Bobby Cochran, topped Stolman Dotson at Jenny Dean Park. Just a reminder, in the local tennis scene, entries for the Northern Virginia Tennis Association's Men's Open are due May 3rd. Competition begins May 8th. Entry forms are available at most clubs. That's this week in sports. Thank you, Jamie.
Thanks, Chris. We're glad to have you and Sportsweek with us. Back to the news. A few months ago, we mentioned that former Arlington County School Board Chairman Mary Margaret Whipple was considering taking on Stephen Detweiler in November's county board elections. Well, the news became official Tuesday when Whipple made her announcement at a courthouse press conference. Whipple says she'll seek Democratic Party backing as well as support from Arlingtonians for a better county. The candidate will campaign on a platform of planned development in the county, support for public education, better relations with county employees, and sound fiscal management. An Arlington resident since 1960, Whipple lost a bid for the board in 1979 to Republicans Dorothy Grotus and Walter Franklin. Following, we'll have Louise Chesnut with Who Cares?
Well, you know, Don, we have come a long way, but we've got to start thinking about our plans for the future. Got any ideas?
Oh, yes, Debbie, we've talked about it, and I'm sure that the show is going to go more into a magazine format, where we will have continuing issues or concerns that will be addressed over a period of 4 to 5 shows. For example, might talk about crime prevention, or development in Arlington, or the schools, and so forth. You get the idea, so that we'll have 4 or 5 of these segments, and we'll bring people into the studio or take the camera out to interview people, and I think we'll get a lot more citizen involvement that way.
Do you see that as building up our audience?
Oh, definitely. The more people that we can get involved in being in our show, that will do it.
You know, another good point about building up the audience is we have to recognize the fact that our crew, as great as they may be, as much as we like them, they're going to move on to bigger and better things. And we're going to have
Hopefully.
to start
Hopefully.
recruiting people from these training programs that RTEC is currently having, and the future Community Access Corporation will be sponsoring.
Yes, indeed.
Well, you know, I thought about something else. Another thing that other people might get into is politicians might use this as a way of getting out to the community and cutting out a few of those meetings that they have to go to. Oh, I see that we're just about ready to close up the show.
All right, let's watch them.
Good evening. The May Company, that owns the Heck stores, in Arlington, Parkington is their baby, wants Arlington to back a very sizable revenue bond, $20 to $25 million for a parking garage and to pay for street improvements, maybe a couple of $1 million, and to improve the landscape, trees, benches, a park. If we don't do this so that they can develop their rundown HECs, build 100 new small shops, and get a couple of office buildings approved, if we don't back them on the bond and cough up some money, the implied threat is that they will close down their worn-out shopping center and put up some quick and dirty office buildings and depart. So the implication is we'd better mind our P's and Q's and do as we are asked. Most people seem agreeable or resigned to the proposal. There have not been many complaints aired except about one thing. Nobody likes the proposed new name that the May Company wants to wish on us for what is now called Parkington. Not that we want to retain the name Parkington, that is as dull as dishwater, but we would like something better than Ballston Galleria. The Ballston part of the name is fine. After all, the shopping center is in Ballston, and right close to the metro station of that name. Ballston we like, but Galleria attached to Ballston sounds just plain silly. Besides, everyone has a Galleria nowadays. There is one as close as Friendship Heights in Bethesda, and the fad of naming shopping centers Galleria seems a bit passé. Why does the May Company want to look so out of date even before they get HECs refurbished and redeveloped? Businesses are always looking for free publicity, too. So why can't the May Company hold a contest to rename Parkington? That would be a good bit of cheap publicity. As people suggest new names for it, this would be a suitable way to get people interested in it. And that should please the citizens who are being asked to put their good name of their county behind a large revenue bond. Why not the May Company? Why not ask us to name your company? That's it for tonight.
That's the news from all of us. Good night. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.